All right, today we're going to work on the Express course and we're going to work on lesson 22. So from the code.org main page, you sign in with your Google account, and I would recommend having two tabs open, one for your code.org and one for this tutorial. So when you get into the Express course, go down to for loops and lesson 22, for loops with B. So I'm going to go right into lesson 1. Collect the nectar from each flower using the fewest blocks possible. Okay, so we need to go forward and we need to get nectar one time each time, and we know how to use repeat loops, so I'm going to grab a repeat loop. And I need to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So math, and grab a number, put a 5 in there. And what did I say? We need to move forward and need to get nectar. And then try it out. So this is really a review of what we've done before. This one's a little bit more complicated and we haven't learned the code that's going to make it easier yet. So let's give it a try. Write the code to help the bee collect all the nectar. You will need lots of blocks for this challenge, but we'll learn an easier way in the next puzzle. So I want to go forward and get nectar, and then go forward and get nectar, but then I got to get a whole bunch more. So I'm going to start out by saying, go forward and get nectar. And I'm going to do that 2 times. And then if I go forward and get nectar and go forward and get nectar, I need to get nectar again. And then I will move forward 1 time. Then I need to get nectar 3 times. So I'm going to just say, get nectar 3 times in a loop. Sometimes these keyboards are tricky, huh? Oops, I'm dragging it everywhere. I'm sure you've done the same thing before. So I wanted that 3 times. I want to just see where I'm at. All right, so that looks good so far. Now I just need to go forward, get nectar 4 times, go forward, get nectar 5 times. You go ahead and pause and finish this code up. Did you remember that you can click on a block of code, press Control-C, and then to copy it, and Control-V to paste it, and then you don't have to drag all those parts together? That's how I did it. Keep coding. Great job. Okay, so this is what I came up with, and feel free to pause the video so you can look at my code and compare it to yours. When I run this time, the code seems to work just great. Notice too at the top I have workspace 18 blocks. If you did it in more blocks and it still works for you, don't go back and try to get a solid green circle at this point, because we're just reviewing. And if yours worked, then you did an excellent job. And we're just going to move on to lesson 22, part number 3. So it says you're going to be learning a new kind of repeat loop, and this is a preview. So it's a pink loop in the loop section, and it says 4 counter from 4 to 10, count by 2. This is just an example. This counter here, the counter, is a variable. So you're going to be having to grab the name of that variable from your variable section. And just like in the last one, we got nectar once and then twice and then 3 times. So whatever you're going to start at goes here. That's going to be a number. You're going to grab that from math. And then you're going to go to another number, the stopping value. So you have a starting value and a stopping value. It could be a high number and a low number, or a low number and a high number. And you're going to count by, this says step value. Later on, we're also going to use the word increment. So if you count by 2, so you were counting you started at 2 and you went to 10. So let's say you went 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You'd be counting by 2. On this one, if you start at 4 and you count by 2, it'd be 4, 6, 8, 10. So this is how you would count. This is how much you're going between numbers. So let's see what happens. So lesson 22, section number 4, we've got a video. Feel free to pause this ed puzzle and watch the video directly in code.org, or you can use the link that I posted here for you. See you in a minute. All right, now we're on to lesson 22, for loops with B, section 5. And it's a quiz after our video. The use of for loops makes this puzzle a lot easier. Read the code below. What will happen when you click run? A, the bee will move forward and collect all the nectar from every flower. B, the bee will move forward and collect all of the nectar from every flower except for one. C, the bee will move forward and collect one nectar from each flower. Or D, I don't know. So let's take a look at the code. When run, for counter from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, it looks like to me. Count by 1, move forward, repeat counter times, and get nectar. So take your best guess and see what you think. All right, so I'm going to guess it was B, and hopefully that's what you guessed as well. It's going to move forward and get the nectar, but it only goes up to 4 times. It doesn't go to 5 times. All right, so let's try using a for loop. We're in lesson 22, section 6. The for loops are going to be in this loop area. All right, help the bee collect all of the nectar. So I know we're going to be using a for loop, but there's 2 parts of using a for loop. There's the for loop and there's the repeating part in it. They already created a variable named counter. We could have called it anything we wanted, but I'm going to leave it as counter for now. So in the repeat block, I'm going to be using counter. So I go into variables, grab counter, and put it in where normally we would see the number. We are going to start at 1, and we're going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to start at 1, and we're going to go to 7, and we're counting by 1. All right, so first time I want to go forward and get nectar 1 time. The next time I want to go forward and get nectar 2 times. So I don't want to go forward more than once each time. I'm not going to put a go forward or move forward, sorry, in the repeat loop. I'm going to have that happen before the repeat loop. But I do need to get nectar a lot of times, or a different number of times. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So I'm just going to show you what happens. If you click on the step button, it's going to execute each part of code. So right now, the bee moved forward, and then it got nectar. And it only did that 1 time because we started at 1. So if I click step, it's going to go through my code again. Bee goes, so it got the nectar, it looped back up. Now my counter's at 2. I moved forward. It got nectar once, it got nectar twice. So if I click step again, it goes forward, and now my counter is at 3. So it should get nectar 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. What's going to happen next? Move forward, get nectar 4 times. And I'm pressing step every time to make the code go. Move forward 1 time, 5 times, got nectar 6 times, moved forward, and we got the nectar 7 times. Of course, you could always have just pressed run, but I wanted to talk you through it. All right, on to lesson 22, for loops with B, part 7. You can also use a for loop to count down. Try gathering this nectar by counting down from 5 to 1. Okay, so see here, the bee is going to first have to get nectar 5 times, but at the end, only get nectar 1 time. Why don't you give this a shot? Give it a pause. Make sure that you are going to use your counter variable in your repeat loop, and don't forget to drag both of those over. Give it a try. How did you do? If you got stuck, you can follow along with me. Otherwise, you can skip forward a little bit. All right, so the 4 counter from 5 to 1, I put a 5 in there and a 1. I dragged these out from the loops. So I'm starting at 5 and I'm counting down by 1. And I need to repeat this counter times. So I grab the variable and drag it into the repeat loop. And just like before, I'm not putting the move forward in my repeat loop, but I am going to put my get nectar in my repeat loop. Okay, so because my first number is higher and my second number is lower, it knows to count down. Hopefully you had success with that as well. All right, lesson 22, for loops would be part 8. So the last number in your for loop is called the increment. Each time a loop is run, the counter variable changes by the value of the increment. On that slide in part 2, I think it was, maybe 3, it said step value. So you can say increment or step value. Try collecting these flowers using an increment of 2. What this means is we start at 1. How do I get to 3? Well, I go up 2 times. So 1, count up to 2, count up to 3. So I kind of I'm almost skipping over. I have to add 2 to get to the next number. So I will show you how to set that up. Or you can pause it now and give it a try yourself. So if you are following along with me, you bring out a for loop and you bring out a repeat loop. And we know we're going to need the counter from the variables. Okay, because that's what this for loop says my variable name is. Now you could always have more than one for loop and you can have a different variable. You could call it score, or you could call it jumps, or whatever it is that makes sense in your game or your program that you're writing. So I'm counting from 1. I'm not going to 10, I'm going to 7. And I'm not counting by 1. I start at 1 and then I go up 2. So my step value is 2 and my increment is 2. And the only thing that needs to be in that repeat loop is get nectar, but I do need to go forward in between every time I get the nectar. So I'm not putting my move forward in the repeat section, but it is in the for loop. So I'm going to press run and watch it go. The trick to finding the count by is just how much did you change from the last one. All right, so for lesson 9, I'm going to pause my video and you can follow along with a guest instructor. Go ahead and follow that link. Hope you enjoy it.